Welcome, and thank you for joining The Logic of It All with your host, Reverend Gary Essex Sprunger. Hello. Thanks for following, and glad you're sitting in on the conversation. The last time we were together, there had been a number of shootings at and in churches, and we were shocked that good people worshiping God would be attacked. Now, this weekend was supposed to be a homecoming celebration in Leland, Mississippi, but a shooter took advantage of a gathering of friends and relatives in a crowd and began shooting. 4 were killed and 12 injured. Whether you are with people at worship or with people in a public place, it's being in a crowd that is the common denominator these days. There have been killings in restaurants and bars, anywhere there's a crowd. A demonstration is another example. Place to be in a crowd. Congressional hearings on the violence accomplish very little more than an opportunity for members to have some self-aggrandizing TV time. They are content to say protests for worthy causes are being disrupted by right-wing extremists. While there have been reports that Intifada seems to be a small impact against fascism, it is extremely organized to give the appearance of being unorganized. Intifada has been finally declared a domestic terrorist group. Now let us hope the religious leaders in this country will pressure Congress to stop those funding the terrorism that is intimidating people from coming out into public to worship, attend meetings at city halls, school boards, or protests, which is right out of the Marxist manifesto. We need to pray for a stop to the violence, and our faith leaders must pressure Congress to act. This violent madness must end. Surely our faith leaders believe in "thou shalt not bear false witness," "thou shalt not kill." If the national leaders of our faith cannot follow through on those guideline commandments, then they are too politicized, and we're in serious trouble. We need to watch the No Kings protest coming up next Saturday. And get this, the CEO of Crowd for Hire, yeah, that's right, Crowd for Hire, is warning there are indications there will be serious disruptions. So when you see a demonstration with a large crowd, you can be assured some, how many, are hired to be there. Crowd for hire. We've come to that. On this 18th Sunday after Pentecost, October 12th, a suggested scripture for this day is from 2 Kings chapter 5, verses 1 through 3, 7 through 15. Now Naaman was commander of the army of the king of Aram. He was a great man in the sight of his master and highly regarded, because through him the Lord had given victory to Aram. He was a valiant soldier, but he had leprosy. Now bands from Aram had gone out and taken captive a young girl from Israel, and she served Naaman's wife. She said to her mistress, "If only my master would see the prophet who is in Samaria, he would cure him on his leprosy." As soon as the king of Israel read the letter, he tore his robes and said, "Am I a god? Can I kill and bring back to life? Why does this fellow send someone to me to be cured of his leprosy? See how he is trying to pick a quarrel with me." When Elijah, the man of God, heard that the king of Israel had torn his robes, he sent him this message: "Why have you torn your robes? Have the man come to me, and he will know that there is a prophet in Israel." So Naaman went with his horses and chariots and stopped at the door of Elijah's home. Elijah sent a messenger to say to him, "Go wash yourself 7 times in the Jordan, and your flesh will be restored." But Naaman went very angry and said, I thought that he would surely come out to me and stand and call on the name of the Lord his God, wave his hand over the spot and cure me of my leprosy. Are not Abana and Phimar, the rivers of Damascus, better than any of the waters of Israel? Couldn't I wash in them and be cleansed? So he turned and went off in a rage. Naaman's servants went to him and said, My father, if the prophet had told you to do some great thing, would you not have done it? How much more then when he tells you, Wash and be cleansed? So he went down and dipped himself in the Jordan 7 times, as a man of God had told him, and his flesh was restored, and became clean like that of a young boy. Then Naaman and all his attendants went back to the man of God. He stood before him and said, Now I know that there is no God in all the world except in Israel. This story is a good example of how skilled the storytellers were in getting their point understood. The ancients' purpose is to support the belief that God, the God of the Israelites, can only be worshipped in their land. Even the healing power of the river is where God is, where the Israelites live. Now Naaman was a Syrian, and he had to come into Israelite land in order to be healed. For the ancients, God is territorial, his land, his people, an influence of belief in mythological gods. More on healing in the New Testament for this day. Luke 17, chapter 17, 11 through 19. Now, on his way to Jerusalem, Jesus traveled along the border between Samaria and Galilee. As he was going into a village, 10 men who had leprosy came to meet him. They stood at a distance and called out in a loud voice, Jesus, Master, have pity on us. When he saw them, he said, Go show yourselves to the priests. And as they went, they were cleansed. One of them, when he saw he was healed, came back, praised God in a loud voice. He threw himself at Jesus' feet and thanked him, and he was a Samaritan. Jesus asked, Were not all 10 cleansed? Where are the other 9? Was no one found to return and give praise to God except this foreigner? Then he said to him, Rise and go. Your faith has made you well. We see again the handiwork of the New Testament storytellers who expanded on an earlier telling of leprosy healing. In the first chapter of Mark, there is but one leper who came to Jesus to be healed. Now there are 10, and among them a Samaritan. His coming back to Jesus to give his thanks is what the storytellers were concerned about. There were Jews who did not believe in this other Jew, Jesus, and the Samaritans returning to Jesus, a foreigner, and the 9 Jews who were not there were not thankful, perhaps. Well, maybe they were, just took the healing for granted. Well, it's just a story to make a point. It did not happen. It is the product of the storyteller's imagination to bring to light that there were those who should have been grateful, but were not. And for us, though it's only a story, it is a reminder that we take so much that is good in our lives for granted. I think you'll agree our lives are pretty good, really good. Are we taking it all for granted when there is so much hostility, hatred, and killing going on around us? Must we wait to have something evil happen to one of us, a friend or family, to not take the good things in our lives for granted? Maybe the days of relying on crowds for hire to demonstrate for us is over. just maybe, we have to get moving to pressure our national faith leaders to get moving and join us in pressuring Congress to get moving to end all the violence, end the funding of violence, and stop those doing the funding of violence that result in killings in our land. Maybe it is time. People of faith need to stop taking the good life for granted, as they're our neighbors we are to love as ourselves, who have suffered terribly at the hands of those who have beliefs that are doing us harm. They are organized. We are not. It is about time we stood up for what we believe and not continue sitting back in the comfort of taking the goodness in our lives for granted. Until next time, which we are out of now, have a good rest of your day and sunshine tomorrow. Thank you for following The Logic of It All and the Hope for a Christian Reformation. If you have followed since episode 1, you're welcome to the website, thelogicofitall.com. Join us again for much, much more in The Logic of It All.